Hello everyone. So happy new year for 2024. I hope you all had a good holidays, and yes, I'm starting working again now after Christmas and the New Year holiday. So from the title you can see I'm recording a new series of video called Rapid AI Development with SvelteKit and FastAPI. Subtitle is Unleash Lightning Fast Applications. So since I have recorded a series of video to do the tutorial on teaching people how to build AI applications with SvelteKit and FastAPI, I got quite good, a few positive feedback. So I thought, okay, why not recording the new one and make it more organized? So let me show you what I mean, like some feedback. So as you can see, some people put a comment on YouTube like awesome series, thank you, can't wait to watch it all, subscribed. And the other one, hey man, you built my day, also week. So I thought, okay, why not just record another series tutorials, because the first version is not very organized. So the first version also did not talk about FastAPI that much. I think I only mentioned a little bit. So now we were trying to make it more organized and more complete, also with the beautiful slides that you can see. I put this kind of linear gradient colors with title, kind of proper logo on the top right, HyperGI. Yeah, the final purpose to promote HyperGI. So what do you mean to promote HyperGI? Because personally, I have a small startup called HyperGI, and we built in the AI application for the small and medium-sized companies. And since the release of ChatGPT, we have been trying to do different kind of things. So let me show you. For instance, we have used SvelteKit and FastAPI to build this small application called Be Prepared Studio. It basically help people to do their job match analysis. So if you are a job seeker, you put your CV, job requirement, and you can click and check your CV with the job requirement compatibility. Because here I didn't upload the CV. So also, please do not try it because we are using some API from the OpenAI. So if you use it a lot, probably we have to pay a lot. But anyway, I probably will turn it off later. So this is kind of a test application to test whether SvelteKit and FastAPI works well or not. It turned out those two combination works very well. So our homepage, HyperGI homepage, is also built with SvelteKit and FastAPI. So we are empowering decisions with collaborative AI. So we mainly help small, medium-sized companies to build and deploy multi-agent system for their business needs. What do we do? So I give you a small demo. Let's say you want to try our sales agent. Suppose you have already a customer. So you have some customers from LinkedIn, and let me choose this one. You can find more, right? You want to find more customers, you just need click search. The AI agent would go to Google, LinkedIn, and search the similar customer from the similar industry with the number of employees are the similar ones, and give you an AI report. So let's check one. Maybe I will check random the first one. You will have AI-powered strategic customer engagement profile for this company. Let's take a look. So I have no idea what it's. Probably the human resource management company. And they all have posted something on LinkedIn. So 8 hours ago, they posted something and blah, blah, blah. So you can see what they have posted. But you don't want to read all of the things, right? So because it's quite a lot, you want to know this company from the website, from the LinkedIn. So this is the LinkedIn, and so we designed based on our search, the agent would retrieve the information from website, also the LinkedIn, and you can copy prompt. So now you go to ChatGPT, then you paste everything here. So it's quite long, blah, blah, blah. So then you will have a report. For instance, you want to contact the person by sending email, we already designed customized prompt based on the information, the LinkedIn website, and put them together. You can copy the prompt and paste it here and use it for free. So for instance, you can just copy this initial message, right? And then you change it. So let's say I put it here. I go to LinkedIn, find, hey, like, hi, Michael. And you send this. I hope this message finds you well. I have been following Tails one journey and your recent accolades on J2 are truly commendable. Congratulations on being recognized as a leader in lawyer management, blah, blah, blah. I'm reaching out because your company specializes in this, and I believe our innovation approach aligns seamlessly with Tails' vision. So this, I have no idea what it is. I guess because this is the context of their LinkedIn. So on the prompt, we posted it here. So, and oh, this is interesting. I'm particularly intrigued by your incoming event, Initiative 2024. It sounds like fantastic opportunity to connect and explore the approach. So you get the idea. Okay. It's a simple tool. We have more different agent. So, but we actually monitor millions of company online, so we're still building our database. If we open another one, maybe let's open this one, iCookie, no idea, from Frankfurt. So let's open it. So this one is software development, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they also put something. Let's go to the website. They're doing the connection stuff. Okay, cool. Let's come back, and if we copy prompt and we open ChatGPT and you paste it here, it's a lot of information. You see, we save time for you. You have a strategic for customer engagement, reasoning, thought leadership engagement, personalized outreach, provide value. We also have short message engagement. You can just copy post to the LinkedIn. So a bunch of stuff. The reason we do not want to integrate the ChatGPT with our product is because it doesn't make any sense. It's free, right? When you have a prompt to copy and go to the ChatGPT, it's better because it's free. We don't want to charge our customer. We don't want to charge you to do anything of this. This is our way to help people to get information from online, make it as good prompt, and you can just use it directly. So we built this kind of tools for small and medium-sized small company, and our main focus, and you can see SvelteKit, FastAPI, PyTorch or JAX. So for the language, Python, TypeScript, Rust, and R programming. For the database, we mainly focus on DuckDB, ClickHouse, PostgreSQL with Azure Cloud. So I put the slogan here, we observe a growing trend of over-engineering in the industry. We don't want it. So I like Elon Musk's comment a lot. You may have to add parts or processing later. In fact, if you do not end up adding back at least 10% of them, then you did not delete enough. Our philosophy is we use as less as possible tools to build the effective things for other people. And also, instead of we pull you away from ChatGPT, we push you away to the ChatGPT. So that's our philosophy. We push you to ChatGPT. So probably there's no such things. Yeah, you get the idea. So we push you towards to OpenAI instead of get away from you from OpenAI, because we realize that it's better for us as a small company to build our application around OpenAI instead of away from OpenAI. Okay, so that's the thing. It's about the big instruction. That's what we're doing here. So, okay, so enough talk for background. Now, let me turn off those showcases. So this is the HyperGI. We still building up it. We will release it probably in 1 month. Ship it online. So let me come back to the our teaching. So also some other feedback. So like, hey, nice job on such awesome course. If possible, please do more such course, but in a single video with different sections, and try other stack as well. But main front end framework, database through Supabase. So we also get some suggestions. So we're taking this seriously, and that's why we're recording this. And you can notice that I got new subscribers almost every day and some comments. So thanks all of you, and your support really give us the more motivation to share what we have learned along the way we built in the AI applications. So this is my channel, a small channel from HyperGI. The code actually is called InnoLab. And you can see over last 28 days, I got 1,000 views, not that much. But it started. But I personally like this one. 48 hours. Last 48 hours, I got 100 views. So that's a lot to me as a beginner. So thanks a lot. I will record more videos and share what we have learned, and so to help you to build AI applications. So for this series, so let's do an ambitions project together. What do you mean, ambitions project? So we will have a proper end product, similar the one I showed you from the HyperGI with the searching things, but based on an open source project called a library from Wiki Boy. I have no idea how to read this, so let's go to this website. This website is a book recommendation, but based on the style and content. So which means you have to embedding, it's called word embedding. If you haven't heard of it, you can Google it, called word embedding. It's a fundamental tool that even OpenAI use it. So represent documents and words with a vector. So basically, you want to train your ChatGPT, you have to embed a token as a vector. So, okay, and if say I want to search maybe, yeah, so funny fiction with Bob Dylan style, and you can get some books recommended. This project was done by this lady, right? So called Vicky. You can go to search her, and I think it's a good project. But she's using Flask. We will use FastAPI, it's kind of Flask for backend. She didn't use any specific front end because it's just one-page application. Probably don't need it. But we will use SvelteKit instead of Flask. We will also explore PostgreSQL and then ClickHouse for database. And during this way, because the data set is very big to embed all the document and from the Goodreads, probably you have heard this website called Goodreads. Those companies have shared the database, a lot of books, a lot of reviews, and we will use the open data from this company and embed those things do the sentence embedding or document embedding and build a book recommendation instead of based on the title, we based on the whole content or the style. We will also practice cloud deployment with AWS and DigitalOcean, of course, many more. So this is an ambitious project because it's a proper AI application that you will have to use natural language processing, some library from the Hugging Face or from the Python community to do word embedding and to do big data analysis. So that's why I put it here, the DuckDB for data science. If you haven't heard anything about DuckDB, you have to Google it. It's becoming very big, so pay attention to it. So you will learn all those things from this project. So this is the structure of this project, right? So on the left, we will have 10 GB, even more than that, document from the Goodreads, and then we have to clean, analyze them, filter it, and then we embedding them. After we embedding them, we will use Redis as a cache tool, and then we will do the FastAPI search. This graph was taken from the wiki, and she is using Flask API. We will use FastAPI. And then we put into the SvelteKit at the front end. So as you can see, it's not tool project. So you really have to learn a little bit data mining, text analysis, and also with different embedding tools to see how it goes. Anyway, you will learn all those things during this way. So let's move on. So here the roadmap. So because it's New Year, I got a new keyboard called Logitech Eagle K860. So I can type fast and more comfortable. So which means we could do a lot of stuff. And the whole thing is project-driven learning, which means every step you will do a different project. I put everything into my GitHub called semantic search because it's not a simple keyword search, it's a semantic search. So here you can notice that I have project 1, project 2, project 3. I have different branches, and it's a public one. So if you go to project 1, you will see it's about server and client-side rendering. And if you go to project 2, it's about routing, and project 3, you got, oh, I haven't changed this part, sorry, I will change it later. But anyway, you got the idea. So project 1 is focused on the big picture, client-side or server-side rendering. Project 2 is about routing and loading data because we want you to get comfortable with the front end, especially SvelteKit, and also understand the concept of API design with FastAPI. And project 3 is form actions and components. After those 3 projects, you can build up, for instance, Be Prepared Studio, basically, where it is. Be Prepared Studio. Yes. You can do this easily after 3 projects with our course. So where did it go? Yes, let me come back. From 4, 5, 6, we focus on the data preparation, big data analytics with DuckDB and Datetable, because it's a huge data set. We have to understand it, organize it well. Then we will use the sentence embedding with sentence transformers. So you probably have already heard all those transform models. And project 6, we do the database design with PostgreSQL, ClickHouse, and Redis. And then we have 3 more projects to link all of things together and make it run and deploy it to AWS or the Azure cloud. So we will see, because together you have 9 projects. I have only prepared the first 3, and I'm still in the way of project 4 and 5. So the whole course will be divided into 3 parts. Section 1, project 1 to 3. Right now you're watching it. Section 2, project 4 to 6. And section 3, project 7 to 9. So hope you will enjoy this happy coding. I think before we jump the other part, I want to tell you why I think investing a little bit Svelte is a good thing, even though you come from the Python community. Me, personally, from the Python community. So if you go to my GitHub, you notice most of my thing is Jupyter Notebook, Python, so natural language processing. So because I used to be a machine learning engineering, so I do a lot of natural language processing. But to turn those algorithms at production, I think SvelteKit together is the best option if you're doing the AI. So I have this article, and also for small and medium-sized company, the in-house application development, right? So suppose you want to build a small application within your company, you don't want to hire other people, you have some limited budget, you want to just with your own developer do it by yourself, like us, it's also a good tool, because with the training of 1 week, you're off to go to do some usable or stable applications. So that is the thing. Okay, so let me come back. So happy coding, and this graph is generated by the OpenAI. Yes, that's the whole introduction. And now we talk about this keyboard. So buckle up with the new keyboard. I have to say this keyboard works very well, and with this discount, it's pretty cool. It doesn't hurt your shoulder, and it's really make your hand very comfortable when you separate them together. It's like doing the Tai Chi on the keyboard. So hope you could buy one too. I mean, I'm not doing advertisement for them. And you can see there is a 1,700 ratings. It's just a great product. So I think maybe you haven't tried it, give it a go. Okay, sorry. Okay, so now let's start it. So the whole course will assume you have some basic knowledge of Python. You have basic knowledge of JavaScript. You have installed Python at least 3.8 and Node.js 16+. You have installed VS Code and relevant extensions. If you haven't done this, watch another series of video from me. There, I explain a lot of things, as really without any coding series. So you can watch it too, or just Google. So I'm pretty sure you could find it out. So before we started, I want to understand very, very important things. It's about the interactivity. So if we go to the ChatGPT, I have already prepared to share this. It's a simple HTML counter, right? So I asked ChatGPT, give me a simple HTML that show a counter with a button. Whenever I click the button, the number goes up. So if I open this HTML, and you can see it's a file, right? So it's on my desktop. I call it full HTTP. And if I click this, the counter goes up. That kind of interactivity is kind of offline activity. It doesn't need to talk with the backend. There's no server. There's no database, but it still interact. So to understanding these basic things is very important because there's two kinds of interactivity. First is interact with JavaScript, something like here. If you look at the code, you have a counter, you have a button, and then you have a script as a function called increment counter, and we have to explain this code. So the document gets the get element ID, there's ID counter, get this, and inner text. Then you will get inner text. Then you increase the current count by 1. Then you set the inner text as new count. I'm trying to use this example to show you, forget about the framework. The framework is just a way of manipulating the web API. So there are a lot of web API, right? If you go to search web API, so there's a DOM web API, and you can see document, body, character. So all the framework is to use JavaScript to manipulate web API to render things. Okay, so hope you could understand this basic example. And to be honest, with the ChatGPT, I think teaching things become much easier. Very often, I don't have to prepare and type. I just need to give a hint, right? For like this one, the OpenAI would just kind of prepare me independent slides for me. So it's very cool. Okay, let's move on. That's it. So we are done for the introduction. So before we finish, I think No Leaf Cafe, there's a, okay, let me find it from my history. Yes, I don't know whether you could hear it or not. Some people built this application also with SvelteKit. So it's pretty cool. It's just the music stuff. You can change it. There's no sound for this one. Yes, so another showcase. Okay, so we will start from the project 1 now. So let me pause the video and open my VS Code. Okay, so if you come to my GitHub repository, you can choose project 1, and then you can just either fork it or either just download it or just clone it. But when you clone, remember to add the branch. So we will start from project 1. And if I come here, so I have already opened my VS Code. I do git branch. I have 3 branch, project 1, 2, 3. And then I will go to branch project 1. Okay, so I do git checkout project 1. Okay, now I switched to Yes, I don't know why here is still. Okay, now I switch to the project one. Okay, so and yes, I have prepared everything. So I put the slides here. So it's there's also the PPT, but mainly it's HTML. I am using VS Code empowered presentation tool called MARP. I probably will record a video to explain the tool. So it's quite a good tool. And if you also, there's another tool called Go, I think it's this, no, this one. Go Live. Yes, this one. I'm using this one, live server. And if you click this, and we go to the port 5050, then you have all the files. I have slides and project one. Okay, so the project one is about server and client side rendering. And I want to keep it simple. And so we will have some showcases, a simple block. One is the client side rendering. One is the server side rendering. So let me open it, right? So I go to CD client, npm run dv, and we follow this website. Yeah, that's it. So this was built by SvelteKit. It's a very simple block. You have 1, 2, 3. And if I also go to server and source VAV, and then I need to run this. Where is it? So I have to ask VS Copilot. So what's open FastAPI server? I think the UV cool long revolt. Yes. So that's it. And then we have it on 8,000. And you go to this website, we have it same too. So they are the same. It's just the style is different and have 3 posts. But this one was from SvelteKit, and the other one from the FastAPI. So that is the showcase. So this is what we would learn to do. That's why it's simple, right? So, but before we start it, you need to know the history, how the browser works and render the pages. So there's an animation. I use it for my first series video. So you can see whenever you open a browser, the browser is rendering a lot of things on the screen. And each section is a DOM. So there's also an article to explain this concept. I put it here, so I would recommend reading it. So how the browser works. The key idea is you have HTML body, p tag, hello, span word. Every time you render, you construct the tree from top to bottom. But when you render from the children to parents, and also add different colors. So that is browser doing, right? So whether you have the Google Chrome, they basically doing this stuff. So the Chrome as a browser integrated with JavaScript and V8 engine. So Chrome V8 engine, JavaScript engine. So there is a JavaScript engine sitting inside of your browser to render different things. So this is the big picture. I have used it for other videos. I hope you know this. The key points is why SSR or CSR? What is SSR? Server-side rendering, client-side rendering, and examples. So let's talk about why first. Most websites are data-driven nowadays. So even for simple blog, you don't want to write HTML for every post, right? So let's say those examples. You do not want to write 3 times or 3 lists for every post, every entry. And you don't want to store your post in a database. You want to, store your whole thing in a database, and you could call the database, get to the post. And data is dynamic and change frequently. And data is also very often stored in database. So let's say my blog, this is my blog. I have different kind of things. There's no way every time I want to have this, and then I built a new page and then publish it, right? So you see the style is the template. I just write markdown and put into a database, and the website would render it based on template, what we are doing. So that's why. So because most of websites are data-driven now, so you want to use programming to combine the rendering with data. So if you think you still didn't get it, wait, we use this simple example I have showed you to explain to you. So the client-side rendering we will do with FastAPI, and server-side rendering we do with SvelteKit. Okay, let's say the client-side rendering is FastAPI. So the client send the request to server, right? The server process the request and send back HTML file. And the client render the HTML file. What does it mean render? Okay, so if you done this setup, right? You set up a virtual environment, you activate, you install those things, and then you start the UV May app reload. Then you will have it. But before, you need HTML. So this is the prompt for HTML. So create an HTML document with a div element that serves as a container for post. Write JavaScript code to dynamically add post to this container. Use an array to store at least 3 posts where each post should have a title. Created data and some blah, blah, blah. So I put the ChatGPT link here too. So if we put this prompt, ChatGPT will give us HTML like this. And then, so if you read the FastAPI document, once you install it, you will have a template folder. So let me show you here. I have template, static, right? So maybe it will be next page will be better. Okay, I think it's, open a new tab. I have ChatGPT has organized everything. Yes, exactly. So we have template with indexed HTML and static style. And what the FastAPI is, whenever you call something, will read the home page, return this index HTML. Okay, so let me now run this server. Oh, it's already running. Okay, this is cool. So yes, let me explain this code again. When you do the FastAPI, you import the FastAPI, and this with static file, you put all your CSS style. And then you have a template directory, and you put the templates. Whenever you want to request the homepage or send the constructed API for homepage, you use /, And now it's just return a template name homepage HTML. And if it goes to the API, it's hello world. So let's see what it means. So if I type API, I show the hello world. So I hope you get this idea. Here I put API is hello world. If I type 8,000, it's just that post we did it. But how does this post with the return date, the post with the return date? Here where I have main, so you put the main pie and did API here, and this one is the home page. So let me change the order, right? And there is a homepage HTML goes to template homepage HTML. So maybe let me do a simple tree so you could see it. I go to server, I do tree, or it's too much. I go to server maybe 2, level 2. Yes. So you can see I have a template homepage, and I also have a static, which is nothing. Then I have a main py. So this is the structure. If you want to build a website with FastAPI, you have to follow this structure. When we send the request, so let me explain to you, this is important. So now if I send the request, so let me send this request with curl. You can see I got hello world. So I'm not sure, maybe I do new terminal. Yes, no. Actually, just terminal from here will even work. Okay, if I do this, look, you get hello world. Okay, so you know, API hello world, right? Okay, the curl basically is a programming way to send a request, right? So now if I do, instead of I do curl API, I do the home page. It saw that. You see, I got an HTML page, which is exactly we saved here, this one. But because we do not have a browser, so there's nothing rendered. Okay, so now let me show you if I do here again. You can see I have a HTML file, but nothing is rendered. What the browser is doing is to receive this HTML and render it like this. So if I do a view page source, you have this exactly same as what we did here. Look, call the function add post. Look, call the function add post. So this is called client-side rendering, okay? Yes. This is called client-side render, which means we send a request, whatever you have, you send a bunch of HTML, we render it. But what we rendered, okay, look, we only have one DV, it's a script, right? So we will run the JavaScript locally and construct different posts. Okay, so now if we check the body, you will notice there are 3 posts. But if you check the HTML here, there's only one DV. Once we send this out, your browser will run this script, right? We have a post, 3 posts, and then on each post, we add a new post. with this inner HTML. So your browser receives HTML and see that JavaScript and run the JavaScript render as this, the 3 posts for us. Or this process, we could do it on our server side, right? We could already render those things with our JavaScript and from the server and send to the final product to the clients. So I hope this explained to you what is going on. To be honest, so many people are talking about client side and a server side. I think this is a perfect example to show you. Okay, so by the way, the FastAPI has another very good tool. Let's call doc. This is give you a different API. So you can see the FastAPI, this one is the home, and success response is the HTML. If you try it out, you get a HTML file. And this one, so let me close this. It's a JSON file, and you try it out, you get a hello world. So we will use the FastAPI to construct different API and link with front end in case to do some AI service. Okay, so we talk about what is client-side rendering. Now let's come back to this is what we inspect, right? So when we inspect browser, we have 3 DV, each one as a post. And why it has 3 posts? Because within our JavaScript, we have an array, right? So this could be understand the database. And then we have a function called add post to container. And within this container, we want to add the post. The post element at the inner HTML is this. You can see when you have a database like this, you do not want to construct your post entry one by one. You want to use programming to do it. That's all the framework is doing this for you. They organize a lot of things, so you could do your data and then render, organize your content more efficient way. And so with SvelteKit, right? So you go to the CD client, you use npm create SvelteKit, install, run, and develop. You should have this. And I have to explain a little bit the structure. So within the client, you will have source. This one is the most important folder. So you put it here. And within, we have library, put a component, routes. So by the way, we use Tailwind. So if you haven't used Tailwind, follow this instruction, you will install everything. Okay, let's check our code for the SvelteKit. This is the code for SvelteKit. First, let me close the main and come back to client and go to the source, routes, open the page. So yes, that's it. You have, again, array, like database, save 3 posts, and this is the final product. Let me close it. You can see it's on the 5173. Right, so, and I have a DV, and each post at the post is like for loop or each loop. Within this post, I have title, date, summary. Okay, so let me explain to you as well. You want to, this is array variable. You use each as a post, and post.title, because it's a JSON, right? So .title, .data, summary. And you put into this curly bracket as a variable. And once we construct this, when we do APM, right? the SvelteKit will render, construct this for us, and then send to organized, actually optimized code to client. Instead of the client will render it everything by themselves. Again, if we do the inspect on this website, and you can see we have yes, so 3DV, and each one is background white, shadow WD, because we have this. So the Tailwind CSS. So I hope you understand this. What is server-side rendering? Of course, you can still write JavaScript, let client do also some rendering, but it's better to optimize it. Okay, I think we're done. We kind of explained what is server-side and client-side. But I need to introduce a little bit about the routing. Of course, next project will learn more. When you do, you want to have a new page, let's say on the roots, you always put everything in the roots. So let me, you click this, create new roots. So imagine I want to create new root called hello. You choose page svelte, page server TS. Those concepts will explain again. So now if I do dv like word, like ha ha ha. So if I come back to type hello, I should have ha ha ha. So yeah, let's do a little bit of tailwind so you can understand what is going on. I want to class equal to maybe text large, right? So should make it ha ha become very big. No, large should be L, text L. Oh, let me Google it anyway. Tailwind font. No, font size. Yes, text large. Text large, so okay, maybe XL, 2XL. Quite big. Maybe I want to background red 600. No, it changed 700. Tailwind background. Okay, I will pick up the color. Okay, let's see whether it changed or not. No, still not change. This is interesting, it's supposed to change. Okay, probably something goes wrong. Let's take a look. Let me copy paste this. No, it didn't change. Okay, let me check whether I have it here. Tailwind setup is already done. Weird. Or maybe let's change the color to see whether the color will change. tailwind color, text color. So yes, if I do text, this is odd. Why the font works, text and the color is not working. Maybe the setup things goes wrong. Well, let's see the padding. So padding left, 20. Padding is also not working. Margin left, 20. There's something wrong. Okay, so let me change the color here. Here it works. Okay, I think there is a setup of the tailwind didn't set up well. So let me kill it. No npm by again. Okay, now it works. So probably have to background red 300. Now it works. Okay, I think it's the, you can see this is also a good example to show you the server-side rendering, because the server it didn't work well, so we have to kill it and run the server. So whenever you want to build the new things like FastAPI, you do the slash. In the SvelteKit, you build the folder. So if we go to the SvelteKit, you read the document. Wait, SvelteKit. The routing, those are the most important things. So at the heart, SvelteKit is a file system-based router defined by directory in the database. Source root is root. You have about is about. And then you have slug, blog, then you have the blog. So suppose we want to have blog, you go to SvelteKit root, we have a blog, you choose page svelte and page server.ts, and within the blog, you can come here to have h1. This is my blog, right? So we come back here, we go to blog, we have it. This is my blog. K, this is the key concept. Let me turn it off. Then I will update everything to the project one. For the main, for the FastAPI, you only construct MPI, and for the HTML, you have to use a template system like Jinja or whatever template you want to use, Django, construct your HTML and pass in the data from the Python, and then return the whole HTML to the clients. But with SvelteKit, you could really manipulate a lot. You have more flexibility with data and front end. Then you ship it. Sometimes it's also optimized whether it should be server-side rendering or client-side rendering. So to be honest, although some people are still using, like Django, the web framework, so quickly with less code, but actually the SvelteKit is way better than this. I have used this quite a long time ago with Flask and FastAPI. They are working on different level. So because here you don't do that much JavaScript. So okay, I hope this gives you the example. So now I will turn off both server, right? So kill this one too. And I think we are done. Before we finish this, so for the SvelteKit routing, you have page, layout, and server.ts. The layout is for really layout. What is layout? So this is layout. Where it is. Suppose you want to have a layout like navigation, different part, hello world. You want to this kind of layout for every page. Instead of you do it for every page, you could put in layout svelte to give it layout. Then for all the children within this folder will follow the same layout. Okay, so yes. And we didn't talk about loading data and form actions, page options, because we will talk about it next time for the project 2. So I hope this project 1 is very simple, give you a sense what is server-side rendering, what is client-side. So let me turn off and change this readme a little bit. So meaning always so with SvelteKit. Yeah, so let me update readme. Okay, very small project. Okay, we are done for this. And let's go to the project 2 because I want to finish all those projects within probably 2 hours. Okay, so let's do the project 2. It's a little bit challenging for me to record 3 hours video like non-stop, but I think we could do it. The project 2 again continue to talk about routing and loading data. So the showcase, yes. Let me open the showcase. So we go to cd client npm run dv and we open this website. This is our showcase. So it's very simple one. We have routing and loading data homepage, and if you go to the user, right, so we will have just show our data and from database without any fancy UI and design. And every page I show 10 users with their email, and go to page 2, I have 20, page 3, then you get the idea. Then I go to the products, the same thing, but for each one I have a link, right? So what is this? Laptop. Okay. So these are the shoes, and maybe these are night suit. Okay, so this is the thing we will build, and to do these simple things, we mainly continue to learn how the data is loading. And these simple things was inspired by this video, right? I put the link here. You could watch it for how it goes called pagination. But for us, we had more. So because in this short video, he did not explain some underlying concepts. So I just explained more based on what he has done. So the key concept, so our website needs to respond to different URLs and render different content based on the UI dynamically. For instance, we have homepage, about, user, products, and different product for the different products, and each product has a page. Then on the page Svelte is the page component and the page TS and load some data before it can be rendered. And page SvelteTS is the server-side rendering without exposing the endpoints to the client. So the layout. So here we will not cover this because those 2 pages is enough. So you have some page serve as HTML, right? So let me where yes. So let me add something. This is more like HTML. Here you have data and logic. Okay, so yes. HTML, what are the user will see, right, on the page Svelte. And server TS are the data and logic are hidden from the client. So those 2 concepts you have to be familiar with. And let's come back to our showcase. We have the user, and if you go to user, you have see we limited 10, skip 10 because that's page 2. If we go to page 3, we have limited 10, skip first 20 because every time we do not want to render maybe 10 users, we want to render 100 users. And if you have the product and you click this, we have product 4. And with product 4, we should render based on the ID 4 and give this, Oppo mobile phone. So we have to understand HTML. So all requests are done by URL. If you still remember this stuff, there's nothing talk with server side. If you want to talk to the server, you do CURL, right? So is a command line tool library for transferring data with URL. So you send a request, so HTTP request. There is an API, you either get something or either post something. Most time you just use get or post. So let's say, for instance, here, when we do link product 6, we send the request, we want to get product 6. Okay, so request a representation of a specific resource, request use get should be only used to request data. They shouldn't include data. For instance, you want to get this HTML, you can get it. That's it. Okay, so for the HTML, with the protocol subdomain domain.com, that is the homepage. Okay, and this is port number. And with the subfolder about, the slug is about, is you go to about page, right? And with the query, For instance, you want to go to home page with question mark, page equal to, which means you want to get the page 2, which kind of parameters with color black, sort equal to newest. You can send request about directly. Like here, I want user. So, but if you want to go to page 2, here we do with query, which means skip the first 10, give me the 10 limit. So it's give me 10. So I use dummy.json, redoc. We go to users here. This request, which means give the user query, the parameter is I want to skip 5, a limit as 5 user, skip 10, and select term name. So this way could allow us to interact with database and server with query. So the other thing is, instead of you put a question mark, right, like this, we could want to product 6. Okay, so yes. First one, products limit to skip 10 as a query, as question mark. Or let me add another one. Control C. So this is query. This is URL. Exactly. Okay. If you look at this example, no, maybe I shouldn't use dash, do not want to highlight it. Yes, that's it. If you look at this example, this one, we want to use fetch with this question mark, limit 10, skip 10. This one, we want this product 6 directly. So those are probably the ways you could interact with the server database, but that's the user, right? So the user sends the request. How do we handle this? Okay, so let me come back. So users send the follow request to server. Then our question is, how could we map the data? So the user sent the following request to server, but how could we map the request to the data? That the framework will help us. Okay, so the SvelteKit will help us to do this. This is, I put the one line here to say the application development is all about user interface plus data and logic. So if you understand this, things become very easy. Okay, very easy. And URL in SvelteKit was managed by page.server.ts. So if we go to yes, don't know why it's comes back, sorry. If I go to my client, by the way, I put the client server, put the client to SvelteKit, but the SvelteKit actually is mixed with client and server, so forget about it. The name. I go to user. Let me console log. I just console log the URL. So this is URL. Nothing shows up. I have to user. I have to. Okay, you see it here. Did I also put it here? Exactly. Right. So within our page.server.ts, right? This is the structure. You import the type, this type script, forget about it if you have no idea. Then we have a URL, right? It's a function. We export a loading function, which means when the page is loaded, we want to check what's going on in the URL because we want to receive the request from the user. And if we console the page server.ts load the URL, and you will get this. Those all the parameters from our user. For instance, the hyperlink is localhost, origin, protocol, username, password, and host name. So the username and password was embedded as a defaulted common parameters for us to check the login details. And then we also have the search. Look, there is also a search. So if I come back here, and if you do console.log, do the search parameters, and you can see right now the search parameter is nothing. So here is nothing, but if I come back to click, you can see there will be limit is 10, skip is 10. Okay, so if I click page 7, because I set the search parameters with a question mark, and then I didn't put it here. Yes. Okay, so you can see it on the right screen. So let me write on the slides. Here. Search is set as default for query. Exactly. Okay, so if you want to see your query parameters, right? This is the you have to always use search. So if I put the search parameter, okay, let's try another example. Instead of I add another one, I add another one called maybe limit skip and select equal to 3. And you can see on the right, we also get select equal to 3. Okay. So on the top right, I hope it, let me post this. This time, on the path name users, I set limit 10, skip 10, and select equal 3. And you can see here, search parameters have 3 values, limit 10, skip 60, select 3. And here I just log out, print out the whole thing. So I hope you understand this. When the user sends something like this, how would you get what the user send it out? You want to get this value, you come to pageserver.ts, use URL, and you can get this value. So what we did here, okay, so let me come back. Once we get, okay, we come to here. Once we get this value limit skip, we go to the dummyjson.com, we search things and we return result and return, look, give it back. Then now we return it. How could we use it? We go to page server. It's always this one. Export that data. This one you never change it, okay? So never change this, because the data will include whatever we returned from the server data. Here, look, the data, right? We have data. We data.server data, because I make it bigger. I have server data. You know what? Let me post this function so you could understand it well. So let me delete this. Okay. Yes. So when the page is loaded on the server side, we have the URL. We first use the URL search parameter, get the number that the user set it, and we put this get skip number, and then we go to the dummy.json to fetch the data, dummy.json as a database, but later we will show you how to set up this database. And then we return as a JSON with a key called serve data, right? Here I want to emphasize, knowing JSON keys is very important. Many JSON files are nested and keep track of them is very important, and keys have to be consistent, because if you return as server data as a key, come back to our page, when you want to use it, you do data.serverdata.user, right? So the key has to match between page and also the server. So please, because often when I made mistakes, it's just the key didn't match from the server to the page. So if you do not remember what the keys are going on, you can always do the console log and log out this data completely. And you can see if I go to send a new request, no. Maybe data, yes, like this. Okay, sorry. The here, because the we are on the page side, so the data would be printed out on the server side. So we have to come to console. So look, yes, it's here. Again, you have to, here is on the server side. Here is on the client side, right? So on the server side, we manage the things, return as a server data, and on the client side, export and let data will receive the data from the server. And that's why I also like SvelteKit, because it blended the boundary between client and server. So we only use FastAPI when we do the AI services, because most of the time we could use the SvelteKit to the server too. So it's very beautiful. And you can see we have a server data at K, and within this server data we have object, limit, skip, total, and user. User is array. You have different things. Okay, so let me save like this. Because the users at the array, we could use each again. So hope you understand this. Oh yes, another tools, you can always use this. Yes, let me show you. You can always use this JSON string file. You get the data printed out to see. I have server data. Okay, small tips. And on server data, I have all users as array. And I also have some limit skip at the end of array. So this is the small tips. Here it shows the structure on the page server, right? So we have a get user. Normally you could have this function to load the data from database. Then you return server data. And once you return it, you use export that data, receive this data, and you use it. So it's always follow this pattern, right? The page.server.ts will render data from database or the API, and then return as page svelte, and then you use this kind of thing. Let me put a small things. So it'll be more clear now. Oh, too much index. Exactly. So here we export that data. Here each data, this is I'm talking about. We returned server data. This is the first key. Within the server data, we have another nested JSON as the users is the array, and then we treat as user, and the user is a nested JSON has ID and email. Then in the end, we have, let me delete this, have this kind of stuff. Okay? Okay, I think now we are clear. I hope you remember this pattern, because there are two kinds of interactivities. This kind of interactivities, right? And this kind of activities. Where it is. So one is talking with the server. One is not talking with the server. When we're talking with the server, it's always this pattern. So if you know this pattern well, you're done. And either you through the URL parameters, either you to the form action. We will talk about form action for next project. And loading data, so one page for each product. So now we want to talk about it, one page for each product, and page.svelte is dynamically rendered. And if you go to the Svelte, they're talking about using the URL, and you can notice they have something like this. Root ABC, and within this root you can put parameters, okay, URL path names, because we want to set this B as product 1 2 3 4, right, like we did here, product 6, but how could we map it? We will do this structure. So rules, right? And then we have product as a subpath. We have users also as a subpath. And within the product, if you want to have product/for, we put this format as ID. So if you come back here, I have product within this on the ID. And ID again is the key of object from the URL. Okay, so hope you, the ID is the key of object. We need get this. By the way, before we talk about this, let's go to the product page so you could see what is going on. Where it is. Exactly. I do not have the presentation model. Okay, never mind. If we make it bigger, I have this A link, right? Every time I do this A link, oh, I didn't copy it. Let me copy it. Okay, suppose you want to have a link, and this link will go to products, and each product has ID, right? And every time I click this link, like we did it here, I should go to that product 8. So how could the server side receive this number 8? So then we come back to the ID page server. You use PAR parameter as. So this is also so fixed. Let's go. Yes, this one, PARAMS parameters. Here will include the ID, the subpath. So if you look at here, path name is products 2 and is ID 2. But if you change this ID as a SD or SS, the key will change, okay? The key will change, so, and then on the server side, we have parameters, then you get product ID, then you go to dummy.json to fetch it. Okay, take away. SvelteKit docs is your best friend. They have document. The routing is the key to dynamic website. You have this ID, create a route with parameter ID. But this key value could change. I think I put it here where it is. No, I didn't put it here. I want to emphasize this. Where is the takeaway? Yes, so it could be K name. Let's call it K name. Okay, if you use kname instead of ID, then you create the root with parameter kname, which means that here parameter.id has to change as .kname, okay? Which means you will have here instead of ID will become kname. Okay, here a little bit tricky, so be careful. That's why I'm using this animation telling you keys are very important, right? So you have to keep track of those keys. But I think this project example, if you do this, you would understand what does URL include, what does the parameter has it. If you forget about it, you always use console log to read it out. Okay, I think we are okay for this. I will not go code to code because you should just, okay, maybe we could go to one page to check a look product and go to ID to look at this one page. So here I have data title, description, and server price and stock. So export data, right? The data was from server data as product data. So when you look at this flashcard, you go, how do I go to, you go to tailwind card and yes, flow byte, I have it here. Where it is. Yes, I use this one. You copy, you come to this page, product ID page, you copy paste here, and if we come back here, let me turn off this. Yes, you can see I have this, a new one exactly same like this dark model, but the image is different. What you need to do is replace the value like this. What I did is just replace the value with the variable name from our server. I hope this pattern you could get it. So if I now save it, and it's only one. Okay, so do this project and you will understand how the server and the page talk to each other. And then I think because you can really do a lot of stuff. I'll give you another example. If we go to SvelteKit Google clone, and if you come to this website, right? So it's some people use SvelteKit to do the clone search. I do like SvelteKit, search with Google, and you can see on the top right is search with Q as SvelteKit, and you get different things. But this guy didn't do it well because if we really go to the Google site, I do SvelteKit, I got SvelteKit, and I type like super base. Here the result changed. And if you look at this clone, the result didn't change because to be honest, there's a small trick you could do this. It's quite simple. We will talk about it in the future. So this guy, he used Svelte, did this Google clone. You can read it too. Battery is not difficult. You finish this project, you could do it exactly same by using Google API, right? So whenever you receive something, instead of you send to fetch from Diamond JSON, you fetch it to Google API, you return it, and then you work on the user interface with the CSS or the flow byte. This even automates, so you can do these fancy things too. Okay, let me stop here. Control C. Let me save everything. Update to project 2. Come back here. Let me see whether we need to talk about, yes. Why do we need FastAPI? Okay, so the dummy JSON is the mock API, right? But we can use FastAPI to create your own API. So if you look at the dummy JSON, on the left, you have get all product, get single product, add product, delete product, search product, all those kind of things. You can also use FastAPI to construct your exactly same API like this. Okay, so let's go to the FastAPI, and you can say, for instance, get items ID, right? So then you fetch the data. What Python and FastAPI is good is it's better to talk with pure data, do the data logic, and let the SvelteKit handle with front end and data flow with front end things. That's why I think those two things are really matched perfectly, because you do not want to use template, Jinja, Django to manipulate HTML and JavaScript. You want to use FastAPI to do your data logic and construct your own API, same thing like this dummy JSON, and connect with the SvelteKit. So, okay, and yes, so I see you next time. We will do project 3. I think we're still recording. Let me. Okay, so let's talk about project 3. And if you look at the slides, the project 3 only have 13, so it's not a lot of things to explain, but you have to read the code, really implement by yourself. And I have put everything into this semantic search, and if you go to the project 3, you can read the code. So on the server side is FastAPI, I didn't put anything, so so you just need to read the client and especially the source, the roots, homepage. So okay, what we will talk about for the project 3, again the showcase, yes. cd client npmy. Okay, so we are doing a simple form. So for instance, like show you put something, you submit it, because as I have explained, there's two kinds of interactivity. This one, and the other one with talking with forms. But when you think about it, we talking about the different things, right? How do you talk to server? You through the URL and you through the different forms. Like this one, input box, searching box. Or NLP. So that's why sometimes, or you maybe also click, right? You click this, you change this, different things. All those kind of things are put into the forms, and then in the end you submit it. So what we will do is a simple add and delete. So let's say I want to add my contact. Then you would add it here. So I want to add maybe Bob Dylan. Yeah, so Bob Dylan, probably same email. And then you have Bob Dylan. I don't know why those are just random avatars. Let's try another one. Maybe how, so same email, NLPA. Yeah, okay. All the girls have no idea. And then you could delete it. This is the app we want to do. So we focus on the form action, even though it is very simple application, but it has two components. First is add with a form. Second one is this table to show it deleted. So that's the showcase. And the forms are also everywhere, because every time you have the form, the user would put information to the form. Either they click, then put input, they send to the server, and the server have to do something. So the key interaction component. You click, right? When you click, the action, the query, either go to the link or either go to the button from form action. Sometimes you also select radio, check, Dropbox, but we cannot put everything into the URL. Sometimes you have input, email, blah, blah. So that's why we want to talk about forms. There's the two ways to submit a form. One is from another page. So, which means every time you log in, you go to another page, you can log in, or you named action. So we will focus on this one because in the future we talk about login. Again, the SvelteKit forms has a good document. You could read it. By the way, the core concept routing, loading data, we covered too. And we are doing form actions. Those you could read it by yourself. Most time you don't need this state management unless you do very complex things. So if you understand those three things, you could build up application very fast. So within 1 week. Okay. Then we talk about within that Google clone. Remember, we showed you have action, you go to the search. So if we come back this Google clone, and we do hello world, and you can see on the top left we go through search, and if we read this code, source rules page.svelte, think we have, let me search it. Exactly. So you can see here, it's a form. And action go to search, which means when you click submit, it will go to the search page. On the top left, you can see it's a, let me copy paste here, you can see it clearly. It's a search page. Look. Okay, and then we have question mark, Q equal to hello world. So that's it. So we want to do a Google clone. Actually, it's very simple after you finish the project 3. And yeah, method is get, right? Yeah, method is get. Okay. Example 2, I post, but now we go to named. Okay, there's 2 ways to do the forms. Why another page? Named action. Name action, you put question mark. Those things are unique for SvelteKit. Okay, so I'll give you an example. Let's just do, let me show you the code then. We have this example, right? Let me open it. We go to client, source, root, page. That's home page is nothing. We go to context. Go to, I have root context. And you come back to the page. I have a form. Okay, I have a form look like this. How did I get this form? I go to Flowbyte, tier 1 forms. Let's say, I think I took this form. Exactly. I copy. I put it here. You can see I have exactly same form like this one, but in the dark mode. But we want to but this form has nothing. It's just a simple form. What I added here is this part. So I want to have a named action called create, which means whenever I create something, let me save this. So whenever I submitted it like this, I could create it. So which means I have to talk to the server. So we have to open the server TS. And you look at here, I have a context as array, server as a database, right? The default one is this Saul Goodman. This is from Breaking Bad. And then when it was loaded, so I think I put it here, you could read it here. Okay, logic. Database, array works the database, default context at the first JSON. When the page was loaded, load, and return this context, right? And then on the page, export that data, I receive this context, then within this contact table, I pass data context. So here I use a contact table. Here is doing about the component. Your component is just a fancy name. You can let me copy paste. If I put everything here, no, you cannot. Let me explain to you. Okay, look, here is a contact table. It's just all those HTML. I organize as a component and put it here. And I also want to pass in data context as a context. And again, the key, here I export the key here. So here I have to use this extra draw to explain to you. Okay, I have .page .svelte, right? Inside it, I have maybe some DV form DV. I have another stuff. Maybe I will have a, yes, let me just copy paste here, show you. This one is component. So yes, and you can see this component is just called context.svelte, and you put into library component context. So if you come to library component contact tables, right? Context tables. So I call it context tables. So contact table, sorry, context table. And I will import, have to, where it is, yes, this is important. Oops, Don't go away. Don't go away. So put it here. Make it add blue. Great. I have to import context table from this component, right? So let me link it. Oh no, why it was like this? Yes, like this. But there will be also the data flows between page.svelte and component. How do we let the data? Again, we use key. Ooh, a lot of key stuff. Right, so look, this context is key. So let me highlight it. Oh no. I give it a background like this. Maybe like this. Then where it is called contracts, yes. Make it white. Make it medium, exactly. Now it works. So, okay, so the contracts are the key. If you look at it here, we have export, let key equal to this. Okay. You need to use this one. Make it X large. Within this, blue. Within this component, you need export. Let me maybe do a screenshot. Be faster. Then you pass the data here. Okay. So this is come from the server, right? So this is come from the server, and we put data contracts, and this is the key. We let it key equal to here, and once you put the component, you can use it. So that's the only thing you need to do. And all those things, blah, 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 flow by it. Okay, so let me copy. Oh, what's going on? All those things looks complex, DV, so actually it's just taken from here. So that's why with a lot of tools, so flow by it, exactly. So if you understand the logic, so let me put it here. Size. here, example 2. So we have page svelte is the HTML page. You can understand, and in the server-side logic with data. And then FlowByte is the UI library you can use. Okay, so I put a summary here into the slides here. So the page server, you can understand, is the HTML template. Page svelte, and page server TS is server-side logic with data fetching, form actions, and FlowByte is the UI library you can use to build components. With those 3 things, you're done. You can build anything you want. What about if you want to maybe turn your website into a mobile app? You use Tori. Yes, so you can build one time, then you convert this one as a desktop application for multi-platform deployment. Okay, I think I really teach you everything now. So yeah, you can use Tori so to build a desktop app or the mobile app. So now you should feel very powerful. Okay, so let's continue to talk about the forms, right? So we have this, we use FlowByte to get these things, but FlowByte does not have any logic. So what we did is we put this logic, named action called create. How do we add to the database? It's called export constant action. So this part. And on the page server TS, you will have this part, actions, and this one is the default action. So you want to get you put the event, because every time you submitted something is event. I think I have it here. No. Yes, here. Because we are using named action called create. If you still remember, here is question mark create. So the name has to be matched, called create, and it's a function. You put a request, which means the user submits things, request something, and you get the form data. This form data will include everything we put here. Name equal to name, name email, name company, name job title. And it's very important where it is. You really have to include this name attribute into any forms, because that's how Svelte works. Okay, so wait. Yes, come back. This name attribute, you have to include it. Okay, so that's when it's server like a key. So if you come back here, I could console log the form data to help you to take a look. So right now it's now, right? So if I come back, I put my name, you add, you can see I have on the right a form data. I have this form data, name is name. Name, this one is email. Value, this is just, name is just key name, right? So JSON key name. And either if you don't put anything here, you don't put this action, it will goes to the default action. Okay? If you put this named action, you have to use create this request. You cannot use default and named action at the same time. So I would recommend you always use named action. So do not use default action. So use the named action, do this export constant like this, give it a name, create, and then you put the request. This has to be request, and you get the form data, because this is the way how you receive the information from client. We will do another example now. Suppose you want to delete it. It's the same logic. So let's come to this. I have table here. I have this form. Okay. We'll delete all those classes because maybe I put GS. Yes, better. Look, this is the delete button, right? The form, the method is post or get, doesn't matter. Most time I use post. The named action is the delete. And then if we come back to page server.ts, I have another. Let me put it here. Okay, need to do it with indexation. So if I go to the page server.ts, right, I have another named action called delete. I got a request, I received the form data, and the form data has get ID because I have input. The name is ID, it's a contact ID, the value is contact ID. Once I got this contact ID, I just delete it, filter not equal to this ID, and return as a context by deleting the database, right? So if you look at it here, we have this context as an array. Every time I add something, I have to show you here. Every time I add something from this create action, I push it, okay? I push it to a database, data as array. Then I return as success true. Okay, so then you have it. So let me think about the logic. The logic is this array as a database. If you add something, the server added something, the client added something, we receive it from this named action create. We get this form data. We organized. Let me put everything here. Let me delete this part. Okay, so right, we have a named action. When we receive the request, we first get the form data. Those you cannot change it. Always keep like this. Then you can console to take a look. So yes, like this. But I think we do not need. Here I will uncomment this because I don't want to. And then you have, we got to get name, email, company, job title, and I create ID. You create a new contact and you push it to database. But here we don't have database, we just use array. But the idea is, look at it here. Everything is persist, right? So if I add John Lennon, work together from the Goethe University, and if I refresh it, it's still here. But where does the data persisted? On the CPU of your server or short memory. But you don't want to imagine you have 1 million people use your service. Your array would expand it at 1 million rules. Then your server cannot manage that. So that's why in the future you need a database. You need a database to replace this array. Okay, so which means that whenever you push, instead of push to array, you push to a database, and then you return. So that's it for delete. It's the request form data. You get ID, but where does name, email, company, job title? How do I get this key? Those key are from the table attribute. Right? I showed you name. That's it. You understand this? Then you can use the form action now. So there's another part called how to build a component. We use the table as example I showed you. You use flow byte, then you import the component, and then you do this pass data like I showed you here. Right? So you use flow byte to build this context table svelte, and you export that context, and whenever you want to pass data from the page.svelte, svelte, of course you have to import these things. Then you pass the data like this. So so I didn't explain a lot of things. I recommend you to use to watch this. So form action made simple from hunt byte. For more details, but here I explained to you the big idea so you could do this project because he didn't explain the logic. I explained the logic, but it didn't cover a lot of details. So there are more things you could do with Svelte forms, like validation, client-side pattern, error handling, forms state management. So there's a library called Super Forms could manage these things. So they win the award called best library for error handling, state. What is me error handling? On the project, let's say I only took this like this. Then you will have this, name must be at least 3 characters long. because I only took 2. The thing we could do this because we put this if. So, right, so I put this if the name length is less than 3, right? Maybe 2, 1. We return fail 400 and give it message as error is true. Message is name must be at least 3 character long. And then you return the other email things. So we have this alert component. And here I have this message. You see? And on the page, sorry, I'm passing this form message. So you also have to use export let form. So this is all about, oh, sorry, form data, page data. So the logic is the same, right? I showed you this graph, where it is, pattern, yes, here. You have page on server update data, either is from URL parameters, either from action. So let me add something. When the page server gives that, you from export let data as or you export let form. Yes. So you put it here, then you could receive data from page.server. But how does this page server receive this from here? You use, I have already showed you, request. Okay, you use this kind of stuff. So on the form, action, and for the URL, you either do URL. Remember, we did it on project 2. Again, I put one last line. Keep case consistent. Because whenever you want to access something, it's all about the key. Okay? Yes. Okay, I think we are done. Validation. Okay, there's some tips. Please always use this question mark when you pass valid variable to components or use optional chaining. Because like, hey, I told this ChatGPT you can non-value handling, just read it. So you can just explain this to me, copy this, and it will explain to you. Basically means if the form object exists, has a proper name, if form is now undefined, the entire operation is valid to undefined. So the idea is if it's undefined, it's false, right? It's just nothing. Otherwise, if not, it is defined. Give it this message value as a key. Same thing for this one. If it's undefined, don't pass anything. Otherwise, give the context. So because if you don't use this thing here, I think we use 2 question marks. Sometimes it gives you the error, right? Because it might be nothing. Because at the beginning, when you reload the data, the form has nothing. So you use these question marks to prevent it will give you the error. Okay. Oh, look, I have the none when I console log the F. So if I now delete this question mark, save it, I don't think we can still render it. You see, there's error. Okay, so it's because this null form it's just nothing. You cannot pass value variable as a value. Here is said, okay, if it's not defined, non-value, give it empty. Okay, here is if it's not defined, even not passing it. So important small trips. Okay, so here those platform form is HTML defaulted. So okay, now I will not talk about this. Let me wrap it up. Okay, so we have 2 ways of interact with server, through the URL or through the form. And when doing the form, you either do a new page or you either do the create. And the form, this example is give it a new page. When you click submit, it will lead to a new page called search. Here, we will not give you a new page. It will stay with the same page. So let me show you. Right, we go to the context. If I add, whatever it is, I add new things and I didn't go to new page. It's still on the same page. If I delete, it's again still same page. So we could do this, update talk to the server and do the react, because we use a named action. The big picture, page Svelte is HTML template. Server TS is server-side logic, data fetching from actions. Flowbyte is a UI library you can use to build components. And Tori, okay, things to remember, you have 2 patterns, right? Default or named, we always use named one. Before we end it, let me add simplified stuff. So because the server side, a little bit, oh, wait. Okay, let me. Yes, think. Oh, it's still too small. Let me maybe, probably. Yes. Now it should work now. Okay, yes, it's not too small. So on the page server.ts, you always have a database. Later we'll use Prisma, and then you always have a load function, which means when the page is loaded, what are the initial data you want to return. Here, if you want to use P, we didn't use those things, right? You can actually use it. You want to use some wait, where did it go? Oh, did I close it? Don't think so. Oh, yes, it's here. We didn't use it, but if you want to use URL parameter, you could put this, then you can use it. Here, we just return this context from the initial data. And if you want to use actions, right? So actions, you do export constant actions, and these are the action name has to be matched with that form named action. For instance, here I have actions as create, so it has to be matched. Okay, so and then you use a request, you get the form data from the client, you get name, ID, whatever. You maybe want to push it because it's create. Maybe you want to delete it, then it's just deleted, then you return some messages. If in the middle, you want to maybe do the form validation, you can, like I showed you, if the name length is less than 3, you can return fill 400 with extra message, and then pass this message into alert, right? So here, what I did, let's see, yes. If the form error is true, I alert. Otherwise, I don't alert. So you get everything. Let me delete this. Update. Okay. So so let me wrap up. So what I want to say is, no, not two sides of cone. Yes. Load is the place to load the data at the and two ways to handle interaction. URL, yeah, URL pass and query parameter form action. So FastAPI handles the AI services. What else? Okay, Tori. And then in the end, let's have a turn off this emoji to see simulations. You finish it. Okay, yes, why not? This guy looks cool. Okay, so let's wrap it up. The SvelteKit is a full stack framework, okay? So it blended the front end and back end together. That's I like it. The page Svelte is HTML template. And template with for loop, with variables, with data is way convenient to use compared to Jinja in Flask or FastAPI. So, but actually the template is quite popular. So, okay, it's not, it should be Jinja, whatever it is. So it's from the Python community. If you look at it here, let's see, example. I think they have the tutorial. Where it is, the context, yes. Look. Anyway, so this template you can use for many things. Many people use it for HTML template. So you have basic, you put the variable. I mean, the SvelteKit is way easier to understand. So it's basically HTML plus some variable. And the server TS is the server-side logic. You do the data fetching, form actions. The load is the place to load data at the initial page load, like we showed here, this part, right? It's constant load. And the actions is the place to handle form actions. That's all you need. You just need two things. And two ways to handle interaction. URL paths and query parameters, like we did from the project 2, and the form actions. And FlowByte is the UI library you can use to build components. I showed you, right? You search on FlowByte, you copy paste, you change the main variable. And the FastAPI handles AI services. And Tori is the desktop app framework you could use. If you have this app already, you use Tori to convert your website as desktop app or mobile app. Okay, I think we are good. So maybe let me change this height to like 80%. Too high. Hide my logo. Oh, it didn't change anyway. Let me review it. Okay, now it's better. Okay, I think we finished everything. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on project 456. Yes, so we didn't do the coding together, but I think you could just understand logic and read the code and do it by yourself. Let me turn off this. Go to page 1. Oh yes, I could just do this. Here is also a query. Yes, much easier. Exactly. So, okay, let me see. So I see you next time. Hope you enjoy this.